Hi everyone, today we have a new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about fresh release from IBG models. And this is quite an interesting combo because here we get 3R all Italian truck with 100mm Howitzer and crew. All of them are molded in 135 scale, so it might be a handy, let's say, opportunity to build a diorama in the popular size. And of course we have a commercial sample here, so it means that's the final shape of this release, and you'll get exactly the same stuff if you order it from any good model shop, even from IBG models themselves. So first of all, the box size is typical. As you can see, my box arrived slightly damaged, but nevertheless everything inside is quite intact, and here you can see comparison with my hand. Also here on the side we have some other kits from the same brand. We reviewed some of them, so you can find it easily on our YouTube channel. And also on the opposite side I can see that cardboard is a bit dusting the cutting mat, but here on the other side we have two marking options for this kit. We will talk more about them when we will be checking the assembly manual. So as you can see, the overall packaging is quite tight, I would say. Maybe it's just the arrangement of the sprues, I don't know, but we have the sprues packed into separate plastic bags, and I can see that they're sealed, and I will have to use scissors in order to open them. In the meantime, I can also remind you that you can support us with a small donation. It's quite easy thing to do because we have two ways. There is a big red button on our website, and you can also do it via YouTube. Both ways are actually helping me to, let's say, get the new kits as well as the improvements for some equipment, because some of the equipment just doesn't last long or maybe gets older. So that's really handy help, and you actually also assist in getting some unusual stuff as well for the reviews, which wouldn't be possible without you. So thanks a lot. Here you can see the first gray plastic sprue. This one is dedicated to the rear bed. We have also this main chassis, which looks a bit weird, but it is actually molded as a single piece part, and that's why it will be easy to place the floor panel over it. And also, if I flip it over here on the opposite side, we also have some guiding elements. Note that the wooden planks, they're quite plain. There is no wooden texture whatsoever, so in case you were expecting this, you'll have to copy it by yourself, but I think it's even better version because you are not defaulted to some out-of-the-box thing, and you can, let's say, improvise a bit here. Next we continue with the wooden panels for the same section, and well, the approach to the design is approximately the same. I think that's the bulkhead for the front cap, and as you can see, it's also quite nicely detailed from both sides. So molding quality is also quite clean. I don't see any possible issues here. Next, I can see it's just, give me a second, I will open it because I'm already opening it, so I think it's worth to finish the opening process. So it's just one plastic bag with the figurine, and I guess we will have a lot of those in the package. That's why I'm a bit laughing here. But as you can see, the overall quality looks really fine. So we have here one of these Italian soldiers. Of course, the position is predefined, so you won't be able to change much. But if I flip it over here, you can see that everything looks really great. The sculpting quality is also good, and attachment points are reduced to the necessary minimum. So we don't have, I would say, unnecessary gaps which will have to be cleaned or which might influence the overall appearance of the figurine. But you also saw that there were no guiding elements whatsoever, so that's something to remember. Now I'm opening another plastic bag, so just give me a second. Here we have again two plastic sprues. So the first one is the sprue D, and here we have the parts for the suspension and for the engine. So those wheel axles are actually quite nice. Also here we have the steering wheel and exhaust, and also some parts for the engine here and also for the bonnet. Again, some parts, as long as this is a 135 scale, we remember this, well, some parts are quite tiny and quite thin, so you have to be careful while separating them. Here you can check them from the opposite side as well. And next, we continue with another plastic sprue. So this one is dedicated to more of the engine parts, some leaf springs for the suspension, separate doors, again bonnet panels, and some more parts of the equipment for the engine, as well as this front grille. I guess the front grille will leverage the P parts as well, because otherwise it would be really strange if it's just a plastic with a plastic. And now I'm opening another plastic bag, so in the meantime, and well, it's always more useful to have the resealable plastic bags, but here they are just sealed shut. And okay, so next we continue with a slightly bigger plastic sprue. It's a sprue A, and here well, the most interesting components are these parts of the main block of the engine. Also we have the chassis bars, we have the wheel fenders, separate bonnet panels, and if I flip it over here on the opposite side we have some pre-molded features, but not that much, because these are the components which will be actually just installed or glued on something, and that's why we will not have the opposite side. Next, we continue with a smaller plastic sprue. It's a sprue B, which is full of the parts for the engine compartment. Maybe I can zoom in so that you can see what we are talking about here. And again, some parts are really thin, for example here or here, so it might require the plastic saw instead of the plastic cutters, because usually with even with the sharp plastic cutters you get slightly rough finish. So maybe it's a wise idea to get the plastic saw and carefully separate this sprue. Next, we continue with another plastic bag dedicated to the figurine. And just give me a second. Okay. So what do we have here? That's again only one plastic sprue with parts only for one figurine. The overall design is pretty much the same as what we saw on the first figurine, and if I flip it over here on the opposite side you can see that we have the guiding elements for the lower parts of the body. It means the legs will be combined in the proper position, but still it's quite important to work on the seams and gaps possible from such design. I think it will not be difficult, but still something to remember when you'll be checking how the parts work together. And maybe I will leave this sprue on the table while I will open another plastic sprue, so just give me a moment. It should be quick because it's another figurine sprue. And as far as I remember, we had the 3 figurines here, so that's why this one should be final, and here it is. So again, it's in a seated position, as you can see, predefined, and we have legs molded together with the torso, but we have separate hands. And I'm not sure why we have 2 pairs of hands, so maybe there are different positions. And again, let's try to flip it over. So on the opposite side, we have the guiding elements for these hands. So this is really cool. This is something what I'm always trying to find in a 1/35 scale figurine sets, and here it might be handy for a bit quicker assembly and a bit more precise assembly in comparison with what you usually get in a plastic kit. Next, we continue with the weapons and equipment. As you can see, the sprue itself is not that huge, but here we have all necessary equipment in 1/35 scale. Maybe you won't use all of the items at once, so maybe some parts will stay on your, let's say, in your spare parts box. So actually the sprue is supplied in 2 pieces. Here is another one which I did not open, and then we have one more plastic sprue which is packed into a resealable plastic bag. This is quite funny. And here I guess we have this artillery gun which should be installed onto the truck, and here you can see the parts. So molding quality is on the same level, so here I don't have any, let's say, concerns or complaints. As you can see, everything is molded nicely. We even have these perforated panels without the necessity to drill out something. And if I flip it over, so here on the opposite side we also have some features, for example for this armor shield, and also some guiding elements which are necessary for installing this or that part, of course. Next we continue with a sprue which is not named. I'm trying to find the letter here, but you can also notice that it's really not that easy to find. But here we have the chassis for this main gun. Actually, here's the letter, quite large, but because it's not like empty, not drilled out, that's why it's difficult to see it from the first sight. Nevertheless, the overall idea of this sprue, I would say, is quite clear. So here we have additional parts for the main gun, and well, I hope it will be easy to combine them together. So that's another point to see. And next we continue with another Ziploc bag. So here we have the parts with wheel fenders and some boxes, as well as the parts for the turret setup or the main gun installation in the rear section. So as you can see, everything looks quite nice. It's a pale gray plastic, which, well, for me is usually not that something what I am used to see in the plastic kits, but it doesn't mean that it's really, let's say, hard to work with or something. So it's just a matter of, let's say, getting used to such color plastic. Next we continue with a sprue which is supplied in two pieces. So here we have wheel rims, and what is interesting is that the wheel rims are actually molded together with the tire balls. We have some pre-molded features here, and also you can see some of the suspension parts. If I flip it over here on the opposite side, you can see also some, well, it's basically the opposite side of the wheel rim, and I think the overall design looks quite good for this scale, so there is nothing to be worried about. Next we continue with another multiple set of the sprues. There are 3 of them, so I will show you only one, and it is dedicated to the jerry cans. So it means that there are 6 of them in total. In 1/35 scale, this is a handy addition, and well, it's also something to play with. I mean, you can try to paint it into different colors or maybe do some weathering on those, because they were usually really beaten hard, and that's why it's a good opportunity to train your weathering skills. Next, I'm opening another plastic bag, which is sealed now, so it's really quite weird mix of the sealed and unsealed parts. Okay, so let's remove this jerry can. And here we have this sealed sprue E, which is dedicated to the gun, which will be placed in the rear section of the truck. We have the plastic wheels. I think they will not be necessary here. And here you can check them from the opposite side. So definitely there are some spare parts which will stay after the assembly. So pay attention which ones are used and which ones will just stay aside. Next we have the plastic sprue, which I guess will not be used in this kit, but still it's worth showing. So here we have the sprue F with the parts for the main barrel. As you can see, it should be glued out of 2 halves. Here you can see the opposite side. We also have some guiding elements. But now we can move on to the reason why I'm saying it will not be used. Because here we have this machined metal barrel, which is definitely better than the plastic offering. As you can see, it's a one piece, it's a hollowed out, and well, it installs into the standard slot, so there is nothing to modify, and you basically get a way superior part out of the box. That's a cool thing to have as a standard bonus. You don't pay anything extra, so definitely a welcome bonus in my opinion. Next we have another Ziploc bag with clear parts. And this one is dedicated to 2 sprues. Here we have lenses and also the glasses for the front cap. Everything is molded in a quite nice quality, but I guess there are no masks included because usually IBG doesn't do such things. Next I have the last gray plastic sprue. Actually there is one more figurine because turns out there are 4 of them. Somehow on the box art I missed another 4th guy, but here it is in the standing position, which was actually in the front of the truck. But as you can see, the overall design is pretty much the same. Let's flip it over. Here we have, well, hands are actually molded together because he is standing in such position in the truck, which is also quite interesting thing to work on. And again, this sculpting quality looks impressive for a plastic kit in 1/35 scale, so definitely something to work on and to try to bring it to even more realistic appearance. Next quite unusual thing is that we have the plastic wheels. Here are the plastic tires, and maybe I wasn't wrong about the wheel rims and tires design, even though here, if you look from this side, it's like, yeah, here we have the tire balls, we also have some features, but if you flip it like this, here we do not have anything, and that will be actually the frontal part, which is quite nice, because maybe you can try to make the painting procedure a bit smarter without masks, but it will be up to you. Next, I'm trying to precisely cut the plastic bag with PE thread, because there is a PE thread in a, well, plastic film, so just not to cut it accidentally. Okay, first of all, we have the decals. Decals are coming from TechMod. We also have some dials for the instrument panel, which is also quite cool. And next, we continue with the P thread, which I mentioned. So as you can see, it's covered with a film. And well, it's unpainted P thread. We have a lot of tiny parts here, thin parts, and also the mesh for the radiator grill. So be ready for this. It's definitely not, let's say, quick affair, but I think the final result, the final look should be worth it. Next, we have the, let's say, final thing in this kit. It's a assembly manual, obviously. So let's zoom out a bit, and now you can see that here we have this color printed brochure with the colors chart, no history note, unfortunately, even though it would be interesting to read a bit more about this truck. So assembly process is explained with help of these 3D images. As you can see, everything starts with the road wheels, then you continue with an engine and the wheel axles, the main chassis. Here we continue with the suspension. And well, a lot of tiny things are involved straight away on the initial steps. So pay attention to this and try to figure out how everything fits. Maybe do some dry fitting because it will be quite important here. Next, we continue with the front cap, which gets installed onto the main chassis. So there, by the way, on the step 29, you can see the combination of the plastic front grille frame and the plastic, PE mesh. Next, we continue with more P parts going into the main chassis. Then we start working on the rear section. And here we work on the main gun. So of course they use the metal part, then you combine all three together. It means the main chassis, the rear section, and the main gun. And then you can also install those jerry cans in a special holder made out of P parts. Here we have the separate assembly manual for the figurines. And here we have the first marking option in the sand color, and here is the second one in the camouflage color. So 2 marking options, but I think that's okay for such combo. A lot of things are going on here, and this kit should be already available. You can get it in ibgmodels website. Of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion, so do not forget to write it here in the comment section below. And if you like this video, do not forget to press the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.